Okay, so now this is the third part of today's lesson. We are going to work on with our workbook today. So let's move on. Don't forget, as you move with your with as you study, as you do the exercises, if you have any questions, please write your questions down and communicate with me. Okay? So go to your workbook. Open on page 56. This is where we are going to start. Okay, so open your workbook now. And before we start doing our practice exercises, I want to remind you this. Okay, let's review some things. You use how often for questions about frequency. How often do you go to English class? I go to English class twice a week. Important thing I want you to remember, I emphasize this today. You don't have this in your book, but you have to notice this, okay? How often is in the beginning of the sentence, always. And then after how often, you have the question, the interrogative sentence. Okay, that's how you use that. Okay, so don't forget. And the same happens with how long. The difference is that for how long, how often you use for frequency, and how long you use for duration. How often, the time phrases that you can use is every 30 minutes, every day, once a week, okay? But talking about how long, as I said, it's for duration. Look the example. How long do you take to get to English school? I take about 15 minutes. Remember, again, you have how long in the beginning of the question, always in the beginning, the same for how often, and then the question is after that, okay? In this case, how do you know this is a question? Because you have the helper verb here in the beginning, okay? So this helper verb does not show here, shows here after how long, okay? The same for how often. And another thing I wanted you to remember is that these are the time phrases you can use with how long, about 5 minutes, a half hour, a long time, and etc. Okay, we saw this in the second part of our class, but I want to remind you this is very important for you. What? Look here. So you have the sentence structure. Use how often and how long to make questions about time, frequency, or duration. How often and how long, always in the beginning. And then the interrogative sentence or question. Okay? Everything I just said now, I'm just putting in a more with graphics and okay? Remember an example here. How often, let me get rid of the drawings. How often does she visit her parents? Look, how often? In this case, I used often in the beginning and the interrogative sentence here. This is the beginning of the interrogative sentence. Okay, good. Okay, questions? Let's move on and do some exercises now. Okay, let me just clear the screen and go to our next slide. Workbook page 56. I'm assuming you already have your book open. So let's go to exercise 1. What you have to do is you have the train schedule here. You have to read the questions and circle the correct answer. So you have the box here. This is a train schedule. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 questions. In order to answer them correctly, you have to look at the schedule. Okay, I'm going to give you some time to do this, and then we're going to do correction together, okay? Okay, so I hope you had no difficulty with this exercise. It's a very simple exercise, so let's move on and do the correction together. So look here, number one. How often does the train go from San Diego to Los Angeles on the weekend? And the answer is 3 times a day. Letter A. So if you go to the train schedule and you find San Diego, then you look how often, so you can find the answer here. Okay. So number two, how long does it take to go from San Diego to Los Angeles on the 3:10 p.m. train? And the answer is letter A, 2 hours and 45 minutes. The correct answer is letter A, 2 hours and 45 minutes. Let's go to number three. How often does the train go from San Diego to Los Angeles on weekdays? How often? So I want to know the frequency. Does the train go from San Diego to Los Angeles on weekdays? And now the answer is B, 4 times a day. The correct answer is letter B, 4 times a day. Question number four begins with how long, so I want to know duration. So this is the question. How long does it take to go from San Diego to Los Angeles on the 6:45 a.m. train on the weekend? And the answer is 3 hours. Letter C, 3 hours. Okay? So how was it? Did you find it difficult or easy? So let's go to the next exercise. Go to page 57. The next exercise, what you have to do is you have to match the questions with the answer. So you have to look at the schedule, the train schedule that you have here in exercise 1, and answer these questions by matching the question with the correct answer. Okay? So page 57, exercise 2. Again, I'm going to give you some time and then we are going to do it together. Okay? Okay, so exercise number 2, you had to match the questions with the answers, and you had to use the train schedule in exercise 1 to check your answers. Okay, so let's move on here. So one side, the left side, you have the questions. The right side, you have the answers. Okay, so let's look at the example. How often do trains go from San Diego to Los Angeles on weekdays? You go to the train schedule, you check the answer, and then you find the answer here. The answer is letter F. They go every 3 hours. Okay, so that's the example. So now let's see if you got your answers correct. Let's go to number 2. How long? Look, how long? So I want to know the duration. So how long does it take to go to Los Angeles on the 9:10 p.m. train? And the correct answer is letter A. It takes 4 hours and 15 minutes. It takes 4 hours and 15 minutes. Number 3, how often? Now I want to know frequency because I'm using how often. How often do you take the train to Los Angeles? The correct answer is letter B. I take the train there once or twice a month. I take the train there once or twice a month. Letter B. Okay, let's go to number 4. How long, again, a question about duration. How long does it take to drive from San Diego to Los Angeles? How long does it take to drive from San Diego to Los Angeles? The correct answer is letter E. It takes a long time to drive there. It takes a long time to drive there. Okay, let's go to question number 5. How often do the trains go to Los Angeles on the weekend? And the correct answer is letter D. They go to Los Angeles 3 times a day. The correct answer is letter D. And number 6. How long does it take to go to Los Angeles on the Saturday afternoon train? And the correct answer is letter C. It takes 2 hours. So number 6, the answer is letter C. So how was it? Easy or difficult? Don't forget, send me any questions you have, okay? So now let's go to exercise number 3. Exercise number 3, you have to read the chart. Look here, you have 3 columns. The first one on the left, you have the activity. Then the middle column, you have how often, meaning the frequency. And the third column on the right, you have how long, the duration, okay? And based on these columns, what you have to do, you have to write the questions. You have the answers and you have to make the questions, okay? I'm gonna give you some time again to do it, to try it by yourself, and then we're gonna do the correction together, okay? Try first by yourself. Page 57, exercise. Oops. So try to do by yourself, and then we are gonna do the correction together. I'm gonna give you some time, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna play now the correction of the exercise. Just follow if you got your answers correct, okay? Just listen to the audio. This is the correction of the exercise. Page 57.
Exercise 3. Track 17. 1.
How often do you drive to the beach?
Twice a month.
How long does it take?
About 1 hour. 2. How often do you walk to the park?
About 3 or 4 times a week.
How long does it take?
About half an hour.
3.
How often do you go downtown by bus?
Every day.
How long does it take?
About 45 minutes.
Okay, that's all for today. Don't forget to send me your questions if you have any. Uh, Here you have my contact information again. The best way to contact me is to send me a text message or post your questions to our WhatsApp group. Don't forget our time together through Zoom meeting. Don't forget to comment on the YouTube video. And I'll see you guys next class, okay? See you soon. Bye bye.